It's unbelievable. Before we jump into anything else, how about this?
Brazil. Here's Clark. Wow! You bet! From beyond the logo!
What if the most talked about rookie in basketball history is already bending an entire league to her will before her first official tip-off? That's exactly what's happening with Caitlin Clark, the long-range sniper from Iowa, whose very presence is sending broadcast deals, ticket prices, and tempers through the roof. Blink, and you'll miss another record falling. Look away, and you'll believe the excuses that pop up to explain it all away. Keep watching, and you'll see a story that's a lot bigger than a single jumper from the logo.
The fever destroyed the Brazilian national team. Brazilian national team, by the way, showed a ton of class.
The summer of 2024 vanished into a blur of 6 a.m. alarms and empty practice gyms. Clark's rookie money could have bought endless beach days, but she chose hardwood and fluorescent lights. Trainers rebuilt her core after a nagging leg tweak, shaving a full tenth of a second off her release. One drill became an obsession. Match Steph Curry's 5-spot, 25-make routine faster than 3 minutes. By mid-August, she did it in 2:42. Dead sprint sweat pouring. No cameras rolling. That speed would matter later when defenders thought they'd close the gap, and she was already in her shooting motion. Most pros talk about adding range. Clark added altitude. In private scrimmages at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, she pulled from 35 feet as if it were free throw distance. By the end of camp, teammates stopped gasping. It was simply another weapon in the arsenal. And because greatness is greedy, she drilled footwork on the other end too. Sideline to sideline closeouts that left coaches double-checking fitness trackers. Quiet work, loud results waiting. But training camp whispers only travel so far. The real test demanded a homecoming and a crowd so loud it could shake memory loose. But that was just the calm before the storm. Early May, Iowa City. Every hotel within 20 miles sold out in 48 hours. Carver Hawkeye Arena's resale market exploded. Seats that cost $40 a year ago now averaged $440, an unheard-of price for any preseason game at any level. Local radio hosts joked about taking second mortgages just to sit in the rafters. Outside, lines snaked around the block at dawn, fans wrapped in black and gold sweaters, clutching homemade three-point queen posters. When Clark jogged onto the court for warm-ups, the sound hit like a freight train. Nobody cared that it was just an exhibition. College memories fused with pro anticipation and produced something hotter, brighter, almost electric. Kids perched on parents' shoulders screamed for one more logo attempt. She obliged, of course. Swish, net, barely rippling. 1,000 phones captured the arc, but the roar swallowed the playback. 90 minutes later, the lights dimmed, and the real fireworks began. Still, a full house was only half the story. The Brazilian national team is nobody's crash test dummy. They arrived with Olympic dreams and a reputation for gritty, switch-everything defense. Didn't matter.
Brazil, their coaching, had no answer whatsoever for Caitlin Clark.
From the opening tap, the fever ran them ragged. Clark's first touch, hesitation left, crossover right, one-step clearance, ended with a 31-foot dagger that froze the scoreboard operator. 12 seconds in, Iowa lost its mind. By halftime, the lead was 30. By the final buzzer, it was 64.
To the best of their ability, and they could not do anything to stop her. They couldn't do anything not only to stop her, to stop the team when she was on the floor.
Clark piled up 16 points in just 18 minutes. But the stat that stuck was her plus-minus, plus 45. Brazil's coach admitted, "We threw every coverage we knew and she shot right over it." Opposing players didn't sulk. They waited politely after the horn to get jerseys signed, the universal surrender handshake. Outside voices, though, were already scrambling for a different narrative. And that's where the story took a sharper turn. Enter Roberta Rodriguez, a longtime reporter with a taste for spicy takes. Within an hour of the final horn, she fired off a post blaming jet lag, early morning bus rides, and confusing logistics for Brazil's loss. The internet pounced. One reply read, "Funny, they looked wide awake when they were dancing during warm-ups." Another, "Indiana played an overtime game yesterday. Shouldn't they be tired?" The hashtag number sign no excuses trended by midnight. Rodriguez doubled down, calling critics xenophobic, and questioning Clark's fan base intelligence, which, predictably, poured more gasoline on the flames. By daybreak, sports talk shows nationwide were dissecting not the game, but the excuse. The louder the dismissal, the more viral the highlights became. Clark splitting a double team, Clark tossing a left-hand bullet to Aaliyah Boston, Clark sidestepping into a logo triple. The spin cycle had done the opposite of what it intended. It made the performance feel larger. Behind the scenes, a different super team was taking shape. Stephanie White returned to the Fever sideline with a mission: run, gun, and never give defenders a second to breathe. They nicknamed each other after Avengers characters, Clark as Hawkeye, obviously, because every piece brought a different superpower. White's playbook reads like one long heat map, green nearly everywhere across half court. She tells newcomers, if you hesitate, you sit. Nobody wants the bench. Media Day felt less like a roll call and more like a warning label. Boston grinned and said, the league's schedule makers better love cardio. Clark added, we're not waiting 5 years for relevance. We're on the clock now. Networks heard the challenge and reached for their checkbooks. When the league released its 2025 slate, jaws hit the floor. 41 of the Fever's 44 games would air on national television, smashing every previous WNBA record. Sports business analysts called it the Caitlin Clark tax. If you want ratings, you pay. Advertisers lined up. A wearable tech company outbid 3 rivals for a jersey patch by quadrupling the league's old high-water mark. Secondary market platforms watched Fever ticket searches jump 300% in a single week. Streaming subscriptions doubled within 48 hours of the broadcast announcement. Season ticket invoices hit inboxes and sold out in 4 minutes. The word phenomenon suddenly felt too small. Yet the tidal wave of attention dragged undertow with it. Doubts, critiques, and the oldest argument in sports: fair or favored. And that's where the conversation turns uncomfortable for some. Long before her draft night handshake, online forums argued that Clark's marketability is padded by factors she can't control: race, orientation, Midwestern relatability. Every no-look dime she tossed for Iowa, someone muttered that a black player wouldn't get the same shine. Each time she barked at a referee, freeze frames popped up on social media, claiming she acts like a spoiled teenager. The inference was clear: she's talented, but the hype, some said, has a convenient complexion. Clark has heard it all. Her answer stays consistent. I can't dribble differently to make everybody comfortable, she told local radio. All I can do is hoop, respect the game, and let the rest sort itself out. So far, the rest includes a growing pile of sold-out arenas and box scores the size of phone books. Whether the criticisms are fair or reactionary is a debate that probably won't die this season. But on the court, the scoreboard remains a stubborn truth-teller, which leaves only one chapter unwritten.
There's not a single National Basketball Association player that is moving the needle anywhere close to this right now.
A preseason beatdown guarantees nothing once the standings reset to 0-0. But history teaches one lesson. Great players who enter a league already holding the torch rarely take long to light bonfires. The Indiana Fever have gone from league afterthought to nightly main event.
What is the ceiling for this Indiana Fever team? So many new additions, great former additions. The ball was moving, the passes were popping. What is possible for this group this year?
Yeah, a championship, that's our goal, and I think working every single day.
So here we sit, on the eve of a rookie season being treated like a blockbuster sequel. Will the hype keep its promise? Or will the harsh gravity of pro defenses pull the story back to earth? Here's a thought worth chewing on. Hype is just a down payment. Hardware is the receipt. And Clark, for all the chatter orbiting her name, has never been content with IOUs. The season is coming. The lights will be bright. The targets on her back will glow in neon. Place your bets, or keep shifting the narrative. Either way, the next chapter tips off soon, and the clock, like always, is ticking.
When the Fever are firing on all cylinders, they are nearly impossible to stop.